Hi, so today I want to talk about making time for teaching reading and making time for reading with your kids. This can be a really tricky thing to do for busy families, and I have three strategies today that work really well for our family in finding time to incorporate reading into our daily schedule. Please remember to hit the like button and click subscribe so that you can get notified whenever there's a new video. Okay, so let's talk about three different times when you can easily incorporate reading as a part of your homeschool day, even if your family is really busy. The first time that we really like to include reading in our day is during breakfast. And I read to my kids during breakfast almost every day. My kids have really started to get used to this time and really started to look forward to and enjoy their reading time at breakfast. I usually try to read something from a fiction book that we're reading together as a family. Right now, we're reading The Wizard of Oz, and my kids are really liking that. But we always have a fiction book that we're reading together, just one chapter or even just a few pages at a time. And I also try to do all of the reading that we need to do for our homeschool day. So if we're going to read a chapter out of our science book, or if we're going to do some reading from a history lesson, any kinds of things that we're going to read together as a family, we'll do during our breakfast time. I also do our family's Bible reading together during breakfast. And that's a really great way to put Bible time first and to really make that a focus and a priority for my kids. I love breakfast reading time because my kids are sitting in one spot, they're focused, and they have something else to keep their hands busy while they're listening. They can be eating their breakfast and really concentrating on the reading in a way that they can't at other times during the day. Breakfast time is also a really great time because it's first thing in the morning. And so my kids are really well rested and ready to concentrate. So I would strongly recommend, if you have never tried reading to your kids during breakfast, that you try that, because it's a time that they're sitting at the table anyway. And so it doesn't really add any additional time to your day to be able to read to them during that time. And it really is a great time when they can focus and pay attention to what you're reading. A second time that really works well to incorporate reading into our day is during our commute in the car. Whenever we're traveling to and from an appointment or to and from a class, that's a really great time for us to add in a little bit of extra reading. When my kids were young and couldn't read independently, we still did reading time in the car. We just gave the kids those books where you could push a button and it would read the page to them or make a sound. And my kids really enjoyed those books. They were a special treat for them. And so they were so excited to get their noisy books whenever they were in the car. And that was a good compromise for me as well, because I didn't want to listen to the noisy books all day, every day. And so I was able to just listen to them for the few minutes that we were in the car together instead of having to listen to them all the time. So my kids love the noisy books, and those really worked well during the car ride when the kids were younger. Now that they're older and I do have an independent reader in my home, we're able to take quieter books and just to be able to read those. But the reading during the car rides has always been an important part of our homeschool. The final time that I wanted to share that we really love to incorporate reading is before bedtime. And we actually have extended my oldest bedtime by 30 minutes. So he gets to stay up an extra 30 minutes later at nighttime for quiet reading time in bed. So during those last 30 minutes, he's in his room, he's tucked in his bed, and he's just reading books to himself. And then after the 30 minutes, we go in and he gets lights out. And that has been a really great transition for us. It's a really great wind down period for him before he goes to bed. And it's also a good way just to make sure that he's getting that independent reading time every single day, because it's a part of his routine. It's a really easy time to incorporate something into a routine because his bedtime is consistent every night. And so the last activity that he does right before bedtime is really easy to be consistent as well. We've also found that he really looks forward to this time. And so it's eliminated all of the concerns or struggles about bedtime because he's very excited to have his reading time. Reading time is something that you can incorporate even with a younger child who's not an independent reader yet. Maybe you create a part of your bedtime routine where you read some bedtime stories to your child on a regular basis. Those can either be picture books that you read just each night, or they can be a chapter book that maybe you read part of each night and you work through it as a family. So there are lots of different ways that you can incorporate reading into your child's schedule. You can try reading to your child at breakfast time, or reading in the car, or reading right before bed. And there are lots of other places and times when you can incorporate reading as well. I'd like to invite you to share your favorite one in the comments. And please remember to hit like and subscribe so that you can get access to all of the future videos.